is holding for this exact flank. A couple of missed shots and Kixon will have a second chance at life, but at the second bite, XANTARES takes it away. imor and XANTARES getting it all done. ESEA chimes in for the final. XANTARES, though, certainly not a done deal just yet for that T side. Eagles up close and personal will do one shot to the chest. Aid Kit's managed to recover the scout as well, and as he starts to peer deep into the B tunnels, he should spot out near enough the entirety of this take. Tags up onto ESEA, not quite able to find the conversion, but Danny, what have you got for us? There is so many low HP players about to head right into his crosshairs. The smokes come out, they won't clear this. It's going to be the flashbang that has to do it. Lands behind the boxes. Clean headshot for one. There's the second. Danny with 3 out of nowhere. XANTARES finally puts him down, but on just 27 HP, this is still doable. The bomb still to make its transition as well. XANTARES doesn't want to be the one to plant on such low HP. Instead, it's Calyx. And as they try and play the smokes, the timing is going to be everything. Cryveng out through the door. XANTARES does well on low HP to find a clinical headshot. And Kixon is left 1v2, trying to make his way out of tunnel. Spots out Calyx, couple of tags. They're both one-shot range for the Deagle now, and he's got an AK instead as he starts to upgrade the firepower. Knows he has to clear XANTARES out of the car. The crossfire is good for the T side there.
On that player by car. They'll swing out on the flash for imoR. He doesn't get tagged, and these are some fairly easy frags.
Takes a dink to get 2, but teammates are here in support now, and as you said, should be relatively easy kills. ESEA just farming himself a little bit of cash on the MAC-10 as well. Lovely stuff. Danny, after getting 3 kills in the previous round, wants to have another go with the Deagle. The problem is this time there's less tags on the board for him to work with. He's managing to drive by XANTARES. A couple of tags onto him. Spotted out, still on the site. There's the headshot he's after. Only the one. Riley's to drop a little bit of utility, try and make life awkward, but the T side already all the way out and holding W. It's imor. He spots out 3, sprays down 1. Good damage onto the second as well. Cryveng, I think he thought he was dead, in all honesty. He was transferring away to the second man of his spray before he dealt with the first. Still found the second pick before he was put down. Problem will be this AWP on site, and as a missed shot from woxic is punished by Cryveng, and the man advantage starts to swing back. You can see Eternal Fire really not interested in taking the fight to that AWP. It was a tag exchanged for a frag. They're going to double back all the way over to the B-bomb site. Danny again tucks in on a cheeky angle with that M4. He's got aid kit rotating in response. It's not a half bad setup, you know, from the CT side. And as they start to get proactive towards short, if they can catch XANTARES, they can buy themselves that timing. Then potentially the bomb just being dropped would be enough for the retake. XANTARES starts to poke his head out of mid. And these timings are going to be absolutely everything. In fact, it's not XANTARES, it's ESEA poking his head out of mid. 6 and 0 look the same on my screen, apparently. Calyx and XANTARES to make this B hit look to happen instead. Molly goes close. Danny with a teammate smoke dropped ahead of him and just 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Where do they look to take this on the T side? Eternal Fire a little bit stuck at the moment. XANTARES is there to cut the rotations, but where do they look to take the bomb? 20 seconds left. Smoke goes into CT. It's going to be the mid B. But with nobody coming from the tunnels and Kixan, if he can be just a little bit cheeky with this and push on through, he can get it all done. Instead, it's XANTARES and Calyx who find everything. 10 seconds. Bomb is dropped at their feet, and they're yet to get into that B site. Cryveng could potentially deny everything here. 6 seconds, 5. They've got to get that bomb down now. The time is going to be desperately close. Calyx has just about managed to dial it in, and now Cryveng, from what was such a strong position, has got to save that AWP. 23 HP. There's no way in hell he's getting into that B-bomb site. And again, it is, well, it's a second is the difference in that round as Eternal Fire have 4.
Eternal Fire there. They wanted to come out of the tunnels. Bluejavs had the information. They blocked tunnels. They put their nades down instead. Eternal Fire said, we can't get out of these tunnels. Let's go out mid instead and try to split the B-bomb site. And the Bluejavs players made a mistake. They decided we're going to full fight in towards mid. They all went down to the heavy fraggers on that Eternal Fire side.
All 5 players queued up. Cryveng is going to be here and ready to go. He's got Deagles in support. We've seen what Danny can do with this, given half a chance. They start to pop. Here's the B hit. Cryveng nearly lines him up. Only able to get 1, however. Now Danny looking for the trigger discipline. His teammates able to get 1, and they are playing this to perfection. Danny goes in with the backstab. woxic only just about able to quickscope his way out of the situation and buys himself the 1v2. Taps the bomb, desperate, knowing he has to get a pick out of this one, and Styly's just a little too keen. Last man flanking from the tunnels. And I think he's been heard, Kixan, because woxic is utterly aware. Tucks himself into the corner with 55 seconds left. Everything will slow to a crawl. The brawl on that B site turn into a little bit of a ballet as Kixan starts to plan his approach. Still plenty of time for woxic to play with. Has to get that bomb down in the next 40 seconds. Clean plant, uncontested. Kixan still in towards those tunnels. It's not the greatest plant in the world for woxic. Kixan can potentially grab a rifle. If he can get just out the front of those tunnels, there's AKs, there's AWPs. The timing is going to be absolutely everything. woxic on the angle, sprays away. He's on 12 HP, but he's good.
Time to capitalise on those advantages and start putting some rounds on the board.
Double AWP setup called out. Aid kit with the secondary, getting very proactive on B. The boost expected, but only a tag. XANTARES swings straight out along. Somehow a missed shot from imor. But XANTARES again is there to bail his man out. And this A site looking so damn vulnerable. woxic picks off Danny in towards CT. It's done. It's 6. Eternal Fire just got to try and cross the T's and dot the I's, if we're being honest. Bomb makes its transfer across the ramp. Styles was holding for it, but he doesn't quite catch the timing. That's a 6th round comfortably, and as you said, pretty well economically established. So the hunt will begin. woxic from top of mid. Uses Calix's jump across beautifully to find the pick, and well, Aid Kit gets himself the one. XANTARES not expecting the man behind the taxi cab, but it's going to be a 6th round. Again, the economy's going to start breaking for the Blue Jays. The only problem I really have with it from an Eternal Fire perspective is it feels like it only needs one round where someone doesn't step up and this all starts to fall apart just as quickly as it's being knitted together. They are going to try and hunt this AWP of Aid Kit down, sending multiple players after him. He's got a nice angle behind these boxes. Doesn't really need to face too proactive.
Too late.
Rolling the financial dice once again. Aid Kit a little more passive with the AWP on B on this occasion. Eternal Fire a little more passive to match. Only just starting to take the mid control. It looks like they want the mid-B split, but without the utility, Stylies has got an open field day. The spray down connects. Cryvang able to pick off a second. Where's the smoke? Where is the smoke, Eternal Fire? The molly will at least trade for one. But again, a fundamental fluffing of the lines. One smoke down and that mid-B hit looks fantastic. You've got 2 isolated players. Stylies has to push through a smoke. Instead, they're resetting. Cryvang will be tested in towards the ramp. Long control from Kixan is going to be absolutely everything here. If he can hold on to Blue, if he can stop ESEA from being the second prong of this attack, then it's a nightmarish take. Cryvang flashed off his first angle of choice. Utility thrown. Tries to reset the plan. The swing will come in from short. It's only a matter of time, and Kixan has done it. That's the blue control they were desperately after. Somehow, Calix has won the duel straight up against the AWP and buys a little bit of breathing room in the 2-on-3. woxic can play for the after plant, but he's mollied out, and the double short take looking to come through here. There's an AWP waiting for him. This is going to be such a rough position for them. Utility dumped onto the site. Molotov forcing them into even more awkward afterplants. Stylies and Aid Kit combining to take out woxic, and it's all on Calix. He's got 3 tunnels, and Danny once again to be called upon, isolated on this B site. Utility comes over top, gives the game away. Molly goes in. Nice use of the utility to buy himself some breathing room. And Aid Kit, again, there's no smoke. They have the utility to lock out these doors. imor's frag will at least bail them out of that one. And Danny dancing around this site, doing everything he can behind these smokes. imor fully blinded, however, is still up to the task of a clean headshot. And 3-on-3. It's not done yet, but it is the B-bomb site, and that is the problem. Time after time, Eternal Fire are cracking this open, and the retakes here are always nightmarish. Nice nade from Stylies. That might tempt them in now, as ESEA and Calix will look to hold it down. Still a little bit of utility for the T side. A handful of flashbangs as they start to chuck those towards the door. The retake nades come in. Smoke towards the tunnels is going to force Calix out to his second angle of choice as they look to swarm in. Flash in, already halfway gone. ESEA uses the CT's flashes against them. And with that pick, it's done. Surely it has to be. Cryvang wants to give it a go, and instead the crossfire is too good. And it leaves Stylies on 20 HP, trying to hide, trying to save this AWP. It looks like the T side may well be willing to let him. He'll cross away. He'll get away with murder here. But it's an 8th round on the board. Again, it just starts to fall apart all too easily. Of course, Stylies saves the AWP into this one. The Eagles and Scouts around it. A heavy play towards A-Long, and plenty of presence here for the CT side. Cryvang tucks himself into the pit early, but it's imor with a demolition job. Calix in with the refrag. 3 in quick succession. A-Long is taken. The round is over. Stylies is already trying to hide that AWP over towards the B site. Aid Kit, of course, will give it a go. See if maybe he can find one with the scout. Nice tag onto woxic through the doors as well. If they could take the AWP away, it'd be nice financial damage. Problem is they really don't want to commit that AWP of Stylies to anything. You need to hold on to that. If you want to buy the double AWP setup again, making sure you only have to repurchase one of the $4,750 guns would be perfect. Aid kit, of course. Only on the scout. woxic tagged up. He'll start to pre-fire the corners. Pop flash himself around it. Look for the USP, but the AKs are starting to swarm, looking for the assist, and they've taken everything away. In fact, Cal again. Pop flash will come in. woxic not blinded, but misses his first bite at it. Gets a dink in response, and through the smoke, aid kit. Gonna find imor. Okay, this is more like it. Early pick found. Dink onto the second man. It's traded into a leg on aid kit. Apologies to woxic. He did land the shot, just not quite through. I think it's through the corner of that box, in fact, which is why it's 76 odd damage. 4v5, though. An Eternal Fire with, well, absolutely no map control anywhere else. There really is only one site they're looking to hit in this round, and it's B, as woxic is lining up the smokes. A little more of a set play, at least cuts the rotations away as it bounces off of that skybox. That will be the door smoke. One more heads out towards the window, and now the flash is into the execute. Two players here, aid kit and Danny. Well placed. Danny again behind the car, but Issa this time expecting an aid kit. He was legged up early, so a fully blind Issa will find the spray down, and again it's these individuals. Quick trade from Calix. And once more, 2-on-3. That B-bomb site isn't being retaken. It's double digits unopposed for Eternal Fire. Kryvang and Kixan to try and hold on to the AWP and the M4 respectively. And I'm starting to feel a little bit bad for Blue Jays, man, because that was the right call. They had the right people in the right place, but it is just being torn apart by the individual firepower of Eternal Fire.
Yeah, potentially. You could certainly make the case that after the first kind of B hit was thwarted, why weren't they pushing long? Why weren't they getting information in mid? Maybe there is a strong case there. They could have had even more than two, maybe three players on that B bomb side. But ultimately, the crossfire didn't work out. They took contact at different times. And you saw Issa, he actually managed to isolate two one-on-ones. And that shouldn't be allowed to happen when you're playing that sort of setup on the B bomb site. So maybe some small kind of team
really able to contest. They don't have the flashes, the utility to get in and out of an angle, and woxic has got the opening peek as well, right as Kryvang was just starting to think about aggressing, looking for a cheeky timing, looking to get some control and information towards short. The punishment keeps on coming. imor with the second headshot in quick succession. The money is broken. They're 3-on-5. They're rotating in, but the backstab is already being lined up by Issa. He's going to head out of B and spot two players with their backs turned here. Calix is ready for Danny's peek. There's the first of the head towards that site. imor's actually boosting behind the smoke himself. It's an early 1-for-1. Kixan does well on that MP9 through the smoke to find the headshot. And they've just got to stay alive here. Just got to buy time. Aid Kit and Stylies do a fantastic job. But again, it's traded back, and 2-on-2. The spray downs connect. Finally, they start to creep their way out. Stylies will be the first issue. He's got multiple headshots to land. Finds the first. Nice use of the utility. Drops back with the molly. That starts to stall this hit. One smoke in, but they haven't dropped the low smoke yet. There it is. Now they can start to plan this mid-B, but there's still two players on site. Make it one as Issa cheesy around the corners of the smoke, and the second quick pick opens it up again. It was such a nice start. Stylies had the opening pick, and it fell apart just as quickly as it begun. woxic picks off Kixan on the rotation, and Blue Jays, well, we've seen this playbook before. Stylies looking for the exit kills. Kryvang looking to save. woxic perhaps a little too keen on that hunt. Does leave it in the 2-on-2, and they're doubling back to give this a go now, given they've managed to level the pegging. The problem is Issa, well, he's just waiting to be activated. The spray downs. 13-2 half is just a demolition job, let's be honest. Aid kit on the scout, not quite able to hit his shot, and now that M4 going to be tested again for Danny. Nice spray control. Doubles back and gets all of them. All four players just wandering out one by one. Pick after pick they come through for Danny. A little bit of a confidence booster for him as Calix. Last round of the half. Let's see what you've got, my son. 1v4 to contend with. Kryvang his first issue on the other side of this mid-smoke. It's a clean entry to start things short. Calix spots out multiple, but can he get away alive? He's trying to drop off the angle. There's multiple players rounding it. Gets a good dink off, but he's lost his teammate in the meanwhile, and he's already tagged down. Double dink from Danny as his confidence continues to pop off. Aid kit with one more. And the A-site split is absolutely huge. imor and Issa nowhere near this. This is still over on the B-bomb site as imor takes the early dink down to 7 HP. This is more like it from the Blue Jays. Kixan with the conversion. And imor would do well to just save his armor.
Yeah, indeed. Huge round there from Danny, of course. He's definitely been the star of the show, and to my memory, he's definitely played a role in at least 3 of their 4-round wins. This is going to be in the end. So, of course, if we were to potentially talk about a route to a comeback here for Blue Jays. This pistol round was a requirement. They couldn't have lost it, and indeed they didn't. So now, take it slow, convert these rounds, and then think about the gun rounds. But of course, these force buys can be so potent, can't they, in the second rounds?
It's the age-old one round at a time boys call is what they need. Take each round as it comes, just reset between each one, play to your strengths as individuals. But as we said, Eternal Fire, plenty of firepower, and they of course are going to be forcing into this one. Couple of scouts. And we'll take the early tags through the doors, 3 Deegs to support. Early nades stack in towards A long from the CT side, not going to tag anything at all. They're going to try and be proactive with this. imor looking for the timing onto aid kit, but he's aware of the possibility, and he's got the clean headshot as well. imor goes down early. That's one of the scouts actually lost as well. ESEA not going to be able to grab it. Going to take advantage of that extra firepower and extra utility on the Blue Jays side of things, as they're just locking XANTARES out of a mid-peak he desperately wants to take.
Fairly slow round for the moment. Blue Jays not getting over excited with that man advantage. You can see, looking at the mini-map, Eternal Fire, they've decided we're already man down, we're on our pistols, let's just stack this A bomb site. Now it becomes a question of, can Blue Jays find that information or get lucky, or unfortunately commit into the stacks? We'll see what they actually choose to go for here as they get into this mid-round.
Mid-B split looks like the call. Open sight. Start to creep their way out. They've got the utility to make this a reality as well, and at that point Eternal Fire may do well just to save what they've got for the next attempt. Indeed, that is the call. There goes the utility, there goes the round with it. It will be a 5th for Blue Jays. woxic may be looking for cheeky timing through the smoke. Oh, just misses it. Shoots either side of the man crossing his crosshair. It will be a 5th round on the board. Near enough inevitably for the Blue Jays, and I'm not sure I'm on board with this. The CT side, they're getting a little proactive looking for their exits. I would rather in this situation they save. Keep the firepower, keep the armor. The next one's going to be a full eco without it, and the round is over. Does look like they are starting to realise that and concede it now. Just a couple of players poking for exit frags. Inkit potentially looking for this peak. He's thinking about going for it as well, but XANTARES just going to back off at the worst possible time. The Deagles and the Scout will be saved into the next, but Blue Jays well on their feet in this T side.
Okay then, round 2 is going to be essentially the same buy coming out for the CT side. Of course, imor, no, I think he had a Scout actually in the previous round, so maybe if he's lucky, he can get a Deagle. We can indeed get a Deagle, so roughly the same round's going to play out again. Blue Jays, of course, previous time round, they found the opening pick. They made it a lot easier, and it looks to me like they have some really nice long spawns, and we talked about it in the first half. It's so hard to hold long on these pistols.
Gonna give it a go. Nade stack will go into the doors. They tried this last time. The damage really not rewarding what was a nice little read. Instead, through the smoke, they're tagged down lower and lower. The one Deagle that hangs around, ESEA, is found. Perfect start again for this T side. They get the long control they were after. They can now just double back, reset, and play this however they please. woxic will at least be boosted up onto the site, rather, to try and contest. Driving on a scout of his own, rounds the angle. It's a nice trade for one from XANTARES. Takes advantage of the tag, even though the headshot didn't need it. But again, just thinning the numbers with this extra firepower. imor and Calyx making the rotations in. Very individually skilled, and imor will find the headshot to make it 2 on 3. But again, the information is there. The extra firepower is there. They double back out of things. Bomb looks to make its way down mid. Set up the utility for the B split. Nice tag coming in from that Scout. The timing is still a little awkward. imor up close with the Deagle. Actually gets another kill with the Scout. Now he'll be sprayed down, and it's all onto Calyx. Aid kit reads it well. Got a little bit hairy towards the very death of things there, but the full HP of Aid kit bails the Blue Jays out. And at 12-6, we have a little bit of a game on our hands.
Yeah, indeed, and certainly had Blue Jays picked up just a couple more rounds in that first half, we're looking at a much more even game, but still staring down the barrel. They've only got half the number of rounds to Eternal Fire, so we're still a long way off this being even a close matchup thus far. But as we said, one round at a time. There's a reason, surely, that they banned into Dust 2 over other maps. Now's the time to show it. Let's see some good strategic play.
Let's see what this T-side's got for it. Early control in towards mid and the tunnels. No real interest around A long, so Calix will take that freely. Early setup screams mid B again. 2 players lower tunnels, 2 upper. Styly's just there in case any over-aggression comes through from the Eternal Fire CT side. Understandable given the nature of the roster, and here starts to come the early utility. XANTARES rotates. Gives away the initial mid control to try and bolster the B site defense. 3 players now here and waiting. The bomb is in the upper tunnels as the flashes start to come out. They're well placed to deal with this, the CT side, but woxic's gone. The Apex have actually come out, both of them in quick succession, and they're going to change the play right as they look to walk into the stack. 2 Apex come through, and that's the round. It's done. Again, the CT side can't afford to commit. The bomb will double back. It'll make its way up short, and that is a huge mistake from the CT side of Eternal Fire. They just had to stay alive. That was it. They could have hidden on the A site. The hit was coming into the stacked site. The individuals would have had the time of their lives. Instead, that gap goes from 6 to 5. The 3 rifles desperately try and save. And Blue Jays continue this early stomp of the T side.
Yeah, indeed. And there, the moment that Eternal Fire saw some pressure on B, Calix pushes long. He goes down almost immediately. woxic not long after. And then from there, as you said, A bomb site wide open. It's an easy decision for Blue Jays to hit A instead. So 5 players alive. This will do wonders for the terrorist economy. We'll see if Eternal Fire choose to force buy into the next. They'll have a very heavy amount of loss bonus. There'll be no AWPs in play. And that's a little bit scary when you've got imor and woxic on your team. You want those AWPs out.
Absolutely you do, but if the economy can't sustain it, gotta learn how to make do, and at the moment the CT side of Eternal Fire is very much not making do. The mistakes starting to pile up ever so slightly. 4 on the trot for the T side of the Blue Jays. Force Spike will come in. imor actually goes for the scout. woxic instead opts for the M4. What do they look to change? That's the real question. imor progressing into the lower tunnels. Can't flick down quickly enough. Kicks on. That's a gift. A freebie of a frag. If you have an AWP, maybe I can understand going for that peak. But even then, you need more backup than imor had. Early man advantage found once more for the Blue Jays. And they are just exploiting every bit of fidgeting from that Eternal Fire CET side. Bomb, as of yet uncommitted. Dropped passively on suicide. Yes, Eternal Fire have got the long control, but the utility comes in for the fake mid-B. Hoping to draw the rotation, hoping to catch someone off guard. 3 players queued up on short. Run boosting round the corner, and woxic, without his favoured AWP, is going to be put under pressure. Does well to get that Molotov away. Buys himself a little more breathing room, but again, that CT utility starts to slim. woxic hasn't got his AWP to hold this cross. And they're looking to queue up into that short hit again. Rotations are going to be key. woxic has got it all to do, and the full execute's going to come out from the T side here. Smokes to land. woxic actually bails out of the initial peak, waits for his own flashbangs to come through. Now looks to hold the ramp. Spotted the man dropping into CT. The flash blinds him, but he's still good for the initial spray down. Levels things out in the 4-on-4, and he's still got this ramp control to work with. The flank through mid could be everything here. woxic still on the ramp, looks away at the worst possible moment, and there's the flank aid kit with 2 in quick succession. It's done again. Eternal Fire falling apart at the seams. Calix is stuck on long in a 1v4. He'd do well to even keep that AUG. The gap just 4 rounds now. And again, so many small mistakes being strung together. woxic looking the wrong way, not knowing Calix has him covered. The flank not being expected and being able to get 2 kills. But it is absolutely ruining the CT side of Eternal Fire here.
Okay, then we'll see what Eternal Fire choose to go for in the following gun round. They could buy. I'm pretty sure they're on maximum loss bonus, so they could even drop an AWP over there from XANTARES. But Calix needs to stay alive with this gun if they want to buy into the next. He gets the first, gets the second, but he goes down in the end. So, looking at that CT money, I do think they will buy into this one. But yet again, it's not going to be a perfect buy, and they haven't had a perfect buy all of this CT half. So definitely questions to be asked already about their economic decisions.
Some bigger questions to be asked, I think, of their CT side. They're not going to fully invest into this one. Instead, half buy will come through. The scouts, the deagles, the CZ in the hands of ESEA. They'll try and contest long with what they can afford. imor pre-firing the early angle behind those flashbangs. Counter flashes come in. He's got the line up. Behind those flashbangs. Counter flashes come in. He's got the line up. He did something like this. Needed an early pick, an early pop-off from one of their individuals just to settle things down. Cryveng down on 10 HP. Starts to feel a little bit more doable. Still 2 scouts in place. Still some nades available as well for Eternal Fire. 2 HEs, 2 smokes. Flashbang to get them into an angle. Bluejavs starting to smell the risk of slowing things right down, using all of that utility they've been able to save up over rounds of success to clear out these opening angles unopposed. Make life as awkward as possible for the CT side, but they're reading it well, Eternal Fire this time. A boost up onto the other side of Gandalf. XANTARES on the fast rotate in from CT. The boost doesn't quite land. imor, what are you doing out in no man's land? Calix is trying to bail him out, but it's the double kill from Kixan. This was looking so good, and it's fallen apart again. XANTARES fully blind. It's a miracle he gets one. Drops an AK at his feet as well, which may start to tempt him into going early, and indeed he has. Bomb planted. He suspects the ramp player. Clean flick for one. Will be traded out. Cryveng on low HP, still with the AWP in play. This isn't done yet, but it's getting closer and closer. They've got to both make it out of CT alive. The CT nade chips away even further at Cryveng, but he's not down yet. ESEA with the AK in hand. Cryveng gone. It's a 1v2, and Stylies can't quite land it. There's plenty of time for the defuse. It's the miracle round. It's what they were desperately searching for. Start to plan out the next phase of the execute. Looking for that mid-control. XANTARES on a little bit of an off angle here. A-Kit's expecting it, though, and the spray down's not quite there. Half HP. But that's plenty of health for A-Kit to work with. Flashbang goes in. imor does well to trade, but he doesn't expect the second player. He's got the nade out. And as they double back again, the rotations are going to be mistimed. Well picked off by woxic as he deals with Stylies. Somehow they're keeping their chances even. Cryveng, though, again catching Calix in transition as woxic utterly stuck. Rock in a hard place. Danny catches him on the long peak, and ESEA required an absolute miracle. A 1v2 needed. He'll make his way all the way around towards long, but Danny is already posted. He's already waiting for this. In towards blue. He doesn't expect. This time it's imor. Comes out wider, and they commit to this mid-B split entirely. The rotations are nowhere near. It's going to be all on these 2 players. XANTARES swings wide to get one. ESEA actually trades him. Does very well, and XANTARES with the smoke has grabbed a double. They've lost the B site in the meanwhile, but they bought themselves a 3-on-2, the CT side. They've got an opportunity in this retake. They'll have to wait for everyone to be here. XANTARES has managed to pick himself up at least a Molotov. I'll switch it out to the rifles. Both players stuck in towards the site. One on the site itself, one playing back plat. A Molotov will clear either of these men out. They have the utility, but it's going to go the wrong way. Ollie into the tunnels. Now they look to swing. A-Kit playing the headshot angle. Taps away. It's 2 kills instead for Stylies, and XANTARES can't do anything. They had the man advantage.
Bluejavs, Eternal Fire, they had 1 force buy round, a bit like this one. Another half buy around some scouts and deagles in place. So maybe we'll look to them doing some damage here. But Bluejavs on these gun rounds, they've been a class above.
Certainly have. And again, they get the early pick. Yeah, but just 3 rounds, and looking like it may well end up at 2 after this. CT side goes to bad, from bad to worse for Eternal Fire, and starting to understand where this Dust 2 pick came from. Bluejavs just using the utility, not making mistakes, playing diligently, clearing their angles. They know this is a half buy. They've seen the aggression up mid. That only comes when it's pistols. Nice timing from XANTARES for the first. He needs a lot more, though, and he's going to be swung on, dinked down, in fact. They know exactly where he's looking. Manages to drive by a second before he's traded down. XANTARES trying to buy them a lifeline. The problem is woxic is still just on that default USP. He wants to transfer across. He wants to get the Deeg and will be allowed to do so because the Eternal Fire boys have left B open and the Bluejavs have worked it out. Bomb makes its transfer. The site is theirs. It's a fast flank coming in from Calix, but again, they have to start asking the questions. ESEA has got himself an AK-47. I don't think he wants anything to do with this round whatsoever. He has armor behind that as well. That would be huge to save into the next. Calix still having a prod and a poke at these tunnels, but the timing's going to be a little bit ugly for him, and AK is good for the spray down. This gap is going to be 2 rounds, and ESEA and woxic at this point, quite frankly, would do well to hold on to 2 AKs. Nice clean headshot from ESEA to keep it that way.
I just had a little check, and I was right. It was 11-1 at one point in that first half. So, Eternal Fire, there's no doubt they've crumbled since then. And we saw a lot of kind of team play mistakes early on in that first half. They didn't materialize.
Save the smoke for the after plant. Take that bomb back around. Nice flash in for the early peek, but Cryvang is ready for it. XANTARES swings with the rifle. The AWP's a little better. And now woxic on 17 HP, flushed out by the mollies, doesn't know where to go. He's been spotted, but they're splitting it back. They're off towards B once again. imor on the secondary AWP. How much have you got for us, mate? 1. That's not enough. It's going to be 12. It's going to be another save for Eternal Fire. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is falling apart. It looks so dominant on the T side. I thought, great, we're done. My flawless predictions continue instead. The gap is 1 round. And Eternal Fire have just not even registered on the CT side of Dust 2.
Yeah, I shouldn't say I told you so, but I told you so on that some of these opening rounds in the first half, and Eternal Fire and some other games they've played. The individuals look fine, don't they? There's no doubt the individuals can frag. They're not playing as a team. The setups aren't good. They're getting picked apart. They're making weird decisions. And Blue Jays, they're not playing a sensational terrorist side. They're just doing simple things, playing them together. Good utility, good nades, and the Eternal Fire players can't hold. And CT side of Dust 2 is always a difficult map to
hit. ESEA and woxic there initially, actually rotating the primary AWPer over towards B based on the spawn. Double pump into this B site seems inevitable, and ESEA's pushing it. He's starting to think about being proactive. There's the pick from woxic. Nice spray down from ESEA for 2. He's bought them half a chance. woxic and ESEA combining. I thought that was the wrong call. They just about bailed themselves out of the situation. woxic now on the corner. Will be forced off by the smoke, but has one of his own to respond. Perfect start for the CT side. 2v4 and the bomb has to bail out of B. They have to reset. They'll double back, but they've lost house control. Calyx has got the angle with the shadow. Is the word I'm looking for. Just an AWP and an AK remain. The problem is, I mean, Blue Jays will still give this a go. They've got plenty of cash in the bank. There really is no harm in throwing the dice and seeing if you can maybe take away 1, 2 more rifles. Keep it expensive for Eternal Fire, who have been on the back foot ever since we switched sides. Go for a wander down mid, and it's the only area currently unchecked by Eternal Fire. So control will be given away freely, and as they start to queue up towards short, again, I start to get a little bit nervous. They're taking this map control far too freely for my liking. Start to make their way into the short hit. Stylings and Cryvang. Full utility. There is a full execute to be lined up here with 20 seconds left on the clock. imor, the secondary AWPer to be tested on the ramp. Can't hit the initial shot. Cryvang misses his, and the second bite is good for the CT side. 12 seconds. They know the last man has to be somewhere on short. He's flanked out by Calyx. 14 on the board for Eternal Fire.
Finder, I guess, in the upper tunnel. Still a good buy, though, for Blue Jays. Opening pick goes the way of Cryvang. Early peeking in towards long. He gets the opening pick there on imor. 5 on 4 now, so a good opening to start this one off.
Very much a needed one. Blue Jays have been consistently punishing. woxic, though, again aggressive. This time on his own. Does well to get away with 1. Levels the scores. 4v4 on the doors as Stylies thought about going out long right into the awaiting crosshair of Calyx. Instead, again, opts to double back, and it looks once more like they want this mid-B here. ESEA wants to get in the way of it. Instead, they double up towards short. Cryvang, very unfortunate. That spam through the smoke was near perfect. Nearly caught the timing, and interestingly, nobody actually that proactive. XANTARES will be the only man holding short on the secondary AWP this time. That molly making it incredibly difficult for him to hold the angle. Instead, he has to drop back. Uses his utility to good effect. Stylies and Danny now tagged. XANTARES resets. Has the cross available to him. Wants the ramp instead. The last of the utility now going out for the T side as they look to swing up short. Nice flashbang. CT drop down for 2. XANTARES up for the first pick. He's got to get another one here, though. He's being swarmed out. The Molotov pushes him even further out, but he's up to the challenge once more. The 2 remaining players, they're trying to rush this AWPer down. He's got Calyx on long to support. The rotations are incredibly slow, though, and Calyx has to trade it. Keeps it competitive with another hit at the moment. imor's going to make his way back and swing. There's the first. One of the Deagles felled. They're waiting to queue up into this B site. The time is going to be everything for ESEA. He's got to hold 2 angles at once. Gets the first. Swings around. Can't quite trade it. And 3 on 3. The B bomb site is taken. This feels like the best chance of the retake the CT side are gonna have, but they're not keen. The AKs, the rifles recovered, the AWP in the hand of Stylies. Start to prod and poke a little bit, but the bomb already a third of the way ticked down. The utility limited for this CT side. If they want to give this retake a go, the nades chip away. They get them the pick. That'll bait them in now. Aid Kit playing close to the smoke. He's looking for the timing. He hasn't got it, and it's all on Danny. 1v3 does well for the first. Knows they've got to swing him from everywhere, but they've jumped on his head, and XANTARES, with a kit in hand, will have this defuse. It will be 16-12